Do you think Eric Omondi was doing right when he was conducting a demonstration with Mama Mbogas outside the parliament?
Wonderful. Perhaps Eric Omondi was right to have organized for a group of Mama Mbogas to go and demonstrate before the parliament. Eric Omondi is kind of a champion. He's just kind of a dream bearer. He's just reminding the government that you have forgotten your promises with the people as you made during your campaigns. Because we saw people being cheated by the same regime, the same Ruto, Mama Mboga, Boda Boda, what, Mama Chama, what, all. But again, immediately he entered into power, he forgot those people. He came back to start overtaxing them. So Eric Omondi was just putting a reminder that you people, you were cheated. See, now your guy whom you voted, whom you campaigned for, have left you. So Eric Omondi was right. And how I encourage him, I urge him even to organize for more demonstrations. And even us, very soon we are going to join him. If it is something that seeks to change this country. I mean, each and every Kenyan should be charged with the responsibility of ensuring that Kenya gets a change. A change is not brought by one person. A change is being brought by a collective measures, collection of people, togetherness and unity. It should not be left to Eric Omondi alone. And I'm calling upon the youths of this country that they should always learn to fight for their rights in whichever the manner that the Constitution allows them to do so. Good evening again, fellow Kenyans. This is Honorable Kenedy Franklin again. I'm back to the public to address about a certain current issue that feels pertinent at this juncture. That is the issue of finance bill that is yet to be passed and is under the process in the parliament. One, I might say that this is the time that we are going to call and to test the credibility, the willingness, the preparedness of our members of the parliament. This is the time that we are going to see if they are going to play a role. A member of parliament is a representative of the people. If you see that there is a certain thing, a certain bill that is going to bring negativity, is going to bring a burden to the people, it is not now the mandate of the people to march to the parliament to represent themselves. So this is now the time that we are going to see our MPs coming out to show that they are charged with the mandate of ensuring that the welfare of the voters are taken care of. And therefore, if they happen to pass a certain bill that seeks to burden, that seeks to paralyze, that seeks to impoverize, that seeks to enslave the people, then they have a very tough war to fight with the people. They have a very tough question to answer in the coming general election. So I'm calling upon our MPs to sit down and scrutinize that bill before they pass it into a law. The financial bill is a very crucial document that ought to have been looked to with keenness and with seriousness and in depth. It's not just a matter of voting. It's a matter of understanding and knowing fully what you are voting and the impact that it's going to bring to the people whom you present. It's again a high time that we are going to put our head of state, the president, into task, and we are waiting for him. If we are going to see him assenting and appending his signature into a bill that is going to end up being a law, infringing upon the rights of the people, putting more burdens into the people, then he's going to clearly demonstrate that indeed He's not a president who cares for the welfare of the people. You understand the economy. Kenya has gone into debts. The other time we saw it in the news. The debts that Kenya owes, the internal debts, the external debts, the borrowings. So if this bill is again going to put more burden into the people, then we are for sure going to see that indeed we were warned by Uhuru Kenyatta not to vote in this government that we are seeing today. But again, to some extent, how I wish, to some extent, sorry for this, and forgive me if I may say something wrong. That is how I wish again that this bill goes through, so that the voter feels the pain of voting in a poor leadership. Sometimes we learn through hard ways. Sometimes experience is always the best teacher. Kenyans always have been told, Kenyans have been always advised, but they tend to forget very easily, and they tend to forget very fast. So if it is something that is going to bring more burden into them, if it seeks to enlighten them and to make them learn the hard way, so that in 2027 they can vote this regime out. So to some extent, I think that if Ruto with his government is going to ensure that this finance bill passes, then it's going to work against them. He might lose his second term as he is dreaming. Even the MPs who are going to vote in that bill, even to them, they might not find another chance to represent the voters. So I always say that Kenyans took a tribal line. Kenyans took a corruption line. Kenyans have always been operating within the borders of bribery when it comes to voting time. And Kenyans have always been voting wrong leaders intentionally, either to punish individual or as a result of negligence. Kenyans have never understood and mastered the importance of voting for change. Kenyans, most of them have been voting for formality. They have been voting along tribal line. They have been voting on the ground of whom do you know? How much do you give us? So Kenyans need to learn. And if this financial bill is going to be another means of making Kenyans to learn on how to vote the right way, then I wish that this bill to pass through so that Kenyans are going to learn the hard way. Today, as we see, quite a number of things are paralyzed because of inflation rates. People are overburdened. Why? Because of overtaxation. Today, a civil servant does not live a life that is worth being lived by a civil servant. Today, a police is not like living like a police. A nurse is not living like a nurse. A teacher is not. We are living in a country whereby you are voting for change and you are going to streets to demand for change. You have to go to the street to demonstrate for the government to hear you. So that is the current government and that is the current situation that we are living in. So it is a high time that Kenyans have to wake up from this behavior of tribalism, nepotism, corruption, bribery, embezzlement, and all menace that seeks to mess our welfare. Thank you.